Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax, and I'm back for day 16 of the Inbox Challenge. And today's numbers were picked by zeppearl Vance, so thanks for playing along. This is Vance picked 5 numbers, and I'm going to do all 5 records. First up is Ragas and Talus, and this is by Ravi Shankar. First, this is signed, but when I looked up the signature, it wasn't Ravi Shankar's. This is on World Pacific. Now this record was released in 1964, but this is a stereo pressing. I have a funny feeling that this is maybe a late 60s pressing of this record and not an original. I'm not sure if World Pacific was a division of Liberty back then, or... Anyway, what can I say about the music? I don't know anything about Indian music. No intellectual understanding of it at all, or its history, or what's good and what's bad, or what I should and shouldn't be listening to. I just buy it, and I really like the music of Ravi Shankar. I've had this. This is great. This is really good. Also on this is Ala Rakha on tabla. Ravi Shankar plays sitar. I've had this. I've had In New York, and I've had 3 ragas, and they're all on the World Pacific label, and they're all excellent records. So I might know if it's supposed to be any good, but I know that I actually enjoy it. So highly recommend that. Highly recommend the other 2 that I've mentioned as well. Ravi Shankar is just excellent. Next up, Jimmy Smith. The incredible Jimmy Smith, Rockin' the Boat, with Lou Donaldson, Quentin Warren, and Donald Bailey. This is Blue Note 4141. So basically this is Jimmy Smith's trio joined by Lou Donaldson on alto saxophone. And fantastic. Jimmy Smith, you know, organ player, blues jazz, soul jazz, hard bop, kind of got a little funkier later, but kind of covers that kind of spectrum. You know, it's not, most of it isn't hard jazz, most of it's kind of soul jazz kind of music. I just love Jimmy Smith, can't get enough. Buy anything that I find from him. This is on Blue Note, of course. This is, it says micro groove, so that means it's a mono, and it's a Liberty pressing. First pressing of this is in New York and NYC. And I know that because it's in the awesome book that Blake gave me. Now also in that book it mentions that by this period anything that is mono is a stereo fold down. So they weren't running a dedicated mono machine to record by this period. Some labels still were, some labels weren't, like Impulse wasn't either, but these guys weren't. But they had previously, like Columbia did. And this also comes with its Liberty period insert, inner sleeve. This is one of his best records that I have. I really love the Sermon. I think that's might be his best record, but this is pretty awesome. The addition of Lou Donaldson, who I just love, makes it you know, all the more appealing to me. And the version of Pork Chop, which is a Lou Donaldson song that he does on here, is just fantastic. Just Jimmy Smith on the organ, Lou Donaldson playing Pork Chop. Just a great version. Just a Closer Walk with Thee, which is a traditional tune that I think I might have first heard. Like it's kind of a religious hymn, but I think I first heard it. Van Morrison did it on maybe Hymns to the Silence. That's just a really great version of that song as well. And Trust in Me is a little bit more jazz as opposed to soul jazz, a little bit more trad, a little bit more traditional. So if you see this record, I highly recommend it. Nothing interesting in the Deadwax's. It doesn't have the P symbol that the first pressing mono would have. It has a beaded rim, which the first pressing wouldn't have. Beaded rim, it's like the edge of a coin, little beads around it. You know how a coin has that groove that your thumbnail goes tickety 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 across. So I paid $4 for the Ragas and Talus, and I paid $7 for this. So a couple great records there. Next is Loup Garou. This is a French-Canadian band. This record came out in 1976. This is a traditional French, Canadian, and possibly French folk songs, kind of put to rock music. Some people have said this is a prog folk album. Okay. At times. Folk rock. At times. But I wouldn't say it's like a hard prog, like it's not, I wouldn't say it's totally prog. But what it is the music and the vocals a lot of the time remind me of like Jethro Tull, Jack Frost and the Hooded Crow, that kind of medieval rock kind of stuff going on. And of course all the vocals on this are in French because it's French Canadian. This is the London label. Now it's kind of interesting. London has a smaller label than every other company. It takes up less real estate here. Second London label apparently for this record. The first label for this record would have been the red and white London label. So I'm not sure if this makes it a second pressing or just a later first pressing where the label changed, because the code and everything is the same. So and I have no idea if the Deadwax's matches. Nothing interesting in the Deadwax's again. So yeah, kind of Jethro Tully, and it's all traditional songs put to like rock. And this was a bit of a hit in Canada. It was like a breakthrough record for French Canadian rock in English Canada. There is one song on here that the band did write themselves called Eclipse. It's the last song on the second side, and it is an instrumental prog piece. And it is that if they did a record of just that, it would be great. Apparently, though, they went more commercial as the records came along. Now, this is the only album that they put out is Loup Garou. They got sued by some dance troupe that had some similar name that I don't know how the hell they lost the case. But so the next records are under a band called Gare à Loup. Instead of Loup Garou, it's Gare à Loup. And there were, I think, 3 more records came out and a live album by this lineup. So, would I recommend it? Yes. I really enjoyed it. I like that kind of Jethro Tull sound, and I like the person who sings on this record isn't with the band for the next album, but I kind of like that traditional medieval folk prog rock kind of a blend. And I love the cover art. That's really kind of cool, eh? Kind of, you know, kind of Beatles, Yellow Submarine-y, and a little bit of some other influences there. Great record. Next is David Ruffin, In My Stride. David Ruffin was one of the lead vocalists of the Temptations, and I think he was maybe the first lead vocalist of the Temptations. This record is on Motown. This is not my usual bag. This came in a box for free, and I kept it because I thought I would check it out. And I gotta say, I'm not keeping this. This is not my thing at all. This is 1977, his last record for Motown. See, Kevy. It's still in the paper sleeve. Disco-y, R&B, soul. The music's well done. The singing's great. It just does not appeal to me. And you gotta love these pants, man. How do you go to the bathroom though? She spent forever untying those and tying those up. That can't be good for the bladder, those pants. Nothing interesting in dead wax there again. It's kind of a non-dead wax day. And the final record is Jimmy Smith swings along with Stranger in Paradise. So this is on the much maligned, for good reason, Pickwick label. And this is this record in mono. So this is a record, Pickwick, you know, classic for buying tapes of music and then repackaging them and putting them out, and you know, and making really quick records. This record has like 13 minutes on each side, like 5 songs on each side, 13 minutes. Just, you know, it's almost like listening to those like Music Matters 45 RPM Blue Note jazz records where you got, you know, this is music to keep you healthy. Every 12 minutes you got to get up and change the record. What can I say about this record? It's, you know, it sounds okay. It's in mono. It's Pickwick. It's not a great date, but as someone who loves Jimmy Smith, it's actually kind of interesting. The music on here was recorded from 1953 to 55 while Jimmy Smith was a member of a Philadelphia group called the Sonotones. And the Sonotones were led by a drummer and a singer named Don Gardner. So this isn't Jimmy Smith's band. This is Don Gardner, and Jimmy Smith's in his band. And Jimmy Smith's just had finished kind of teaching himself how to play organ, because he used to play stride piano, and he had just kind of locked himself away for a year or something in a warehouse his dad owned with a Hammond B3, and tried to teach himself. And the performances are they kind of call it the locked hands style of playing organ, where, you know, you just kind of the whole note pulsing kind of sounds. It was, you know, before he was playing on his own, before he was headlining in Philadelphia, before he went up to New York City and headlined in a club and got discovered by the guy from Blue Note and then got signed. This is before all of that. This is kind of embryonic Jimmy Smith, which interests someone like me who is kind of obsessed with Jimmy Smith and loves organ and jazz. But this is not a record anybody really needs. It's got like vocal tracks on it, Tell Me and I Hear a Rhapsody on side 2, and they're sung by Don Gardner, not by Jimmy Smith, because Jimmy Smith did sing like post 1965 on some of his records. So it's okay. It's like 2 out of 5, but it's not total garbage. But you really don't need this record. If you are looking for a Jimmy Smith record to buy and you see this cheap, you know, this is not your gateway to Jimmy Smith. This is kind of your gateway to somebody else, and Jimmy Smith was just banging away in the background kind of thing. Find yourself the Sermon or any of his Blue Note dates, basically. Or I can't really recommend too many Verve dates, because those were kind of all over the map. But the Blue Note dates were definitely the strongest. So those are today's records. Thanks, Vance, for picking the numbers and playing along. And I guess, you know, the real winner in there is the Lougarou, the Jimmy Smith on the Blue Note, and the Ravi Shankar, and then the other two. I'm going to keep the second Jimmy Smith, just because, like I said, I'm a completionist with him, but you don't need it. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Keep the record spinning.